The FCS college football experience playoffs preview picks and recap episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet Rivers. Claim your risk-free bet up to $500 over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betrivers. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betrivers. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today, people. Plus this Tuesday here today, everything is 20% off in the merch store with the promo code CYBER. Go to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Promo code CYBER.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the FCS college football experience. FCS playoff preview picks and reaction episode. Just a phenomenal week of playoff games. Some wild outcomes. We also had the Bayou Classic, where the Southern Jaguars upset the Grambling Tigers, and since then, Hugh Jackson has been relieved of his duties. I was a bit shocked by that. We're going to talk about some of these other playoff outcomes, but since this is topical, I thought they would give him a third, maybe even a fourth year. What'd you make of this one? Because it's not like they were awful this year. I was a bit shocked. How about yourself? Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Let me introduce myself. Jesus, I'm all over the fucking place here. Look, folks, if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Folks, we got coaching hires. I'm all over the place here. Cup of coffee. Maybe I need to add some whiskey to it. Yeah, we're going to talk all about it. I am joined by my co-host. Hopefully you're watching youtube.com/the college experience. This guy, he's down there in the Gulf of Mexico picking up winners, chasing alligators, all that crazy shit. Give it up for the Gulf Coast guru himself, Mike Rose. How you doing, brother?
What is up, man? It's so apparent as conference championships are coming and we got computers picking who's playing in the games, even though the games already worked that all out without a computer over the weekend. So yeah, FCS is where it's at. These playoffs are fucking fire. Let's do it.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, dude. I had brain fart. I was just like in the middle of it, and I was like, "Yeah, let's." No introduction needed. Let me just jump right into.
You got to get into Hugh Jackson news, man. Come on.
Well, I just read that like 10 minutes ago, and I'm like, "Wait a second. Look, I have shit on Hugh Jackson a lot in his NFL days, but I kind of think he's getting the raw deal here. I know you weren't supposed to lose to Southern, but I feel like you should get a third, potentially a fourth season. You were only 1.5 point favorites. I felt like it was a little early. What'd you think?
No, I feel the same way. I mean, preseason before Dooley was let go, even, a week ago, I'd have picked Southern to win this game. So I don't really know what the big shock was. I mean, it was a tight game. They only lost by 5. Southern was the better roster, going into the season. So I don't really know. I think Grambling did basically exactly what I thought they would do this season, given the schedule and given their talent. So yeah, I was pretty surprised too. I think he did kind of get a raw deal.
Yeah. And then other coaching news: Dan Hawkins of UC Davis stepping down. That one a bit surprising, and another one was the Gardner Webb, which I know we'll get to in a second, but their head coach, Trey Lamb, former Tennessee Tech Golden Eagle quarterback, taking the head coaching position at East Tennessee State. I think that's a really good hire. But anyway, we will talk all of that because we have to recap the games and talk about the FCS playoffs and the SWAC championship this weekend. Thursday, Alabama State blew out Tuskegee. I mean, that was a irrelevant game as far as the season. But Saturday, Sac State, North Dakota. This game, Sac State was up 28-7, I think, at one point. North Dakota State pretty much battled all the way back to get this thing to I think a tie game, if memory serves. Yeah, tie game, 35-35. And then Sac State goes right down the field. Caden Bennett gets it done by a rushing touchdown in the final 5 minutes of the game. Were you surprised at the outcome? Were you surprised that a 21-point lead was blown? And then the home team, you would think if you blow a 21-point lead, the away team is going to be done. No, they still bounce back and get it done. What'd you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by the 21-point lead more than anything. I thought these teams were fairly evenly matched up, and it just goes to what we've been talking about with the Fighting Hawks. They just really tailed off after that North Dakota State win. I feel bad. It seemed like they had everything moving in the right direction, and Schuster just never hit another gear for the second half of the season. And I mean, shout out to Bennett, shout out to Sac State. I mean, this is a good win for that program, and I'm very interested to see what happens next.
Yeah. As we'll talk about that in a second with the matchups, but disappointing season for North Dakota. Even though you beat North Dakota State, I guess that's a success. You make the FCS playoffs a success, but to lose at home was tough. Was very tough. This game I lost money on. Lafayette and Delaware. Lafayette was up. I want to say 28-7 at one point as well.
Yeah.
This one, Delaware came back and wins 17 points in the fourth quarter. As not only do they get the outright win 36-34, of course they don't cover, but then the news comes out this week that they're jumping to the FBS. Your thoughts on all of this news regarding and this comeback regarding the Delaware Blue Hens?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we both locked this one up at 7.5, so we expected Delaware to come out and take care of business. But Lafayette had that Cinderella feel to them all year. I said in the preview, even though I locked this one up, I could see Lafayette just taking that energy and maybe even getting the dub. So heartbreaking to see Troxel and the boys fall like they did, squander that whole second half lead. And Delaware, I mean, hey, let's take that momentum to the next level. I guess that's cool. I don't know, how great that bodes for the future with what's going on in the FBS. Because we talk about it all the time. I don't even know if the G5 is going to stick around. It's going to be interesting to see where. Did they say where they're going yet? CUSA. Yeah. Well, that's turning into a hell of a conference now with Liberty and New Mexico State and Western Kentucky. Interesting.
And just to clarify, I think for the audience, what Mike's referring to here is if the P5 splits from the group of 5. Mm-hmm. But that I do think that'll probably happen at some point, but I think you might have 5-10 years before that happens. So we'll see. But either way, I think it's an exciting time if you're a Delaware Blue Hen fan, and it starts with that comeback there. I mean, I laid the points with Delaware that did not hit. It was really kind of the story of the FCS first round of the playoffs, because I watched this whole North Carolina Central Richmond game, and North Carolina Central got up to a 20-7 lead. I want to say, yeah, it was 20-7. And on the final 10 seconds left before the half, Richmond completes a touchdown to get it to 20-14. And then in the second half, Richmond scores 35 points, 35-7 in the second half, much like the North Dakota game, even though North Dakota didn't cap it off with the win. Much like the Delaware game against Lafayette, all these home teams got down big and stormed back with two of them winning, and the third one, they pushed it to a tie game. But unbelievable outcome here as the Richmond Spiders almost dropped 50 at home there against North Carolina Central. I know we took Central in the points. Davis Richard played pretty decently, but I think the other big story was Kyle Wickersham throwing 3 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. What'd you make of this one?
Yeah, man, I lost money on this one for sure. I actually had Richmond on the Central on the money line, so I thought maybe they could come out and make some noise, and it looked like I was well on my way. And then the freight train just started in the second half, and Richmond just rolled. It's a good look for the Spiders, man. I mean, they've been just slowly getting better all year, better and better and better, and now they come out and they get business taken care of in the first round here. Super intriguing matchup coming up next week against Albany. We'll talk about it in a bit, but I'm becoming a big fan of this team as the year goes on. Yeah,
great win for the Spiders there. Their program just stays overachieving. All right, we're going to talk a few more, but before do that, I want to tell the folks out there that the FCS College Football Experience is brought to you by Bet Rivers. Bet Rivers is available in over 14 states plus Ontario, Canada, and yes, Bet Rivers has some of the best live betting markets in the space. Their betting menu is second to none, including a ton of props. Look, I can tell you my Bet Rivers play of the day right now is college basketball. Well, let me try to give you one for to give this some shelf life. My Bet Rivers play of the day for the FCS playoffs moving forward is I will take the big number of points. South Dakota State is laying a big number. We'll get to it in a minute against Mercer. So take Mercer in the points there in Brookings. I think they can hang with them a little bit. But that's just my pick of the day here, folks. But sign up using our link to get a free risk-free bet there, up to $500. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betrivers. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betrivers. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back on the FCS College Football Experience, and here we are. Nichols really didn't belong, did they?
No.
35-0. The Salukis put it on them. Shout out to College Football Campus Tour. He was there. What an ass whooping. It was 21-0 at the end of the first. I mean, this was a very disappointing game. It was not fun to watch. I mean, unless you're a Saluki fan, which I mean, I like the Salukis, but shit, I was hoping for more of a game than this. What'd you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those games where you kind of see the difference between the higher echelon programs and conferences versus what you get out of some of the lower ones. So the Southland, really did not rep Nichols. They fought hard all year, but I remember all the way back week 1, they played Sac State, and that was like basically a brand new Sac State team, new coach, and they still housed them by 14 points in Louisiana, all the way from California. So I didn't think that boded well for Nichols. I'm not too surprised about the outcome. What I am surprised is that Southern Illinois really looked as dominant and as good as they did. And this is a team that, what's Mr. Labanowitz say? The dogs keep on fighting. I think this is a team that could be dangerous.
Don't let the dogs get hot. That's what Stone always says. Shout out to my guy Stone Labanowitz. And yeah, don't let them get hot because they could be a dangerous play. I thought the best game of the day was that in-state Tennessee battle between Chattanooga and Austin Peay. As you had, just a kind of a back and forth game there. Chattanooga went up 7-0, then Austin Peay ties it up. Then Chattanooga scores, then Austin Peay ties it up, and then Austin Peay third quarter. Austin Peay grabbed a pretty decent lead there at one point, scoring 14 in the third. And then Chattanooga bounced. Oh yeah, that was to tie it up. They scored 14 in the third to tie it up, and then Chattanooga got it done with a late field goal. It was a pretty good game overall. I think Chattanooga was the better team, but I don't know. Austin Peay missed some field goals too. Javon Jackson had a monster day at the running back spot for them. When you look at the total yards, Chattanooga though 422 to Austin Peay's 300. I think that's probably the difference in the game. Were you surprised by the outcome? I think we both said that Chattanooga was live, but what'd you make of this one?
Yeah, we both locked this one up when we picked it. We picked it at 9, and I mean both of these teams really played. They played close games all year, particularly when they played good teams. They played the good teams close, whether they won or lost the game. So we both knew this was going to be a close game. We both said it was live, and that's how it turned out. So, I'm not surprised, and I think this Chattanooga team, even though I kind of questioned them being in the playoffs at all, just based off of what they did, resume and everything. I think they're going to show people they belong, and I think they've gotten better as the year goes on. So really good defensive output too. I mean, holding them to 21. I know they gave up a lot of rushing yards, but Delilo, however you say the quarterback's name for Austin P, haven't heard anybody say it yet, so I'm not sure. But
former Middle Tennessee Blue Raider quarterback. Yeah, so
there you go, Ricky Stockstill boy.
Yeah, what a game that was though, and one of the ones that I was shocked I felt frustrated with because I feel like I was on the right side of this one. I took Gardner Webb in the points. I sprinkled the money line. The final score was Mercer 17, Gardner Webb 7. Like I said, Trey Lamb, the head coach of Gardner Webb, leaves for East Tennessee State. But really, I thought the difference of the game, first off, Gardner Webb's defense kept them in check. PV only threw for 122 yards. Jalen King's interceptions were everything. 3 picks. When you look at this game, even from the yardage standpoint, Mercer had 9 more yards than Gardner Webb. 9. And when you consider what Gardner Webb was able to do, they got down 14-0 in the second quarter, but then still in the second quarter, they, scored a touchdown, made it 14-7. And then no one scored until 8-minute mark in the fourth quarter. But damn it, man, Gardner Webb was in scoring position and interceptions were thrown. Oh, it was a very frustrating day. I feel like if you're a running Bulldogs fan, because you were there, you could have won this game. You didn't. Shout out to Mercer for causing those interceptions. But this was like a neck and neck game. This should have been a field goal game. I feel like that side should have hit, but it didn't. Mercer got it done. What'd you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen King, quarterback for Gardner Webb. That's kind of the story through the 3 picks, and that's what hurts. I mean, this is a close game, all things considered. And I think we expected that. Mercer, their defense, pretty solid all year. Only a couple outings where they gave up really over like 20 points. So this is another good outing for the defense, getting it done where it counts. And I just don't know if their defense is going to be enough to keep them around with South Dakota State. So that's going to be what's interesting to watch. I think they're going to have to find some offense to hold them up too.
Yeah. Sorry, I realized I was covering up the promo code there. Folks, the next one here was Drake, North Dakota State. I laid the points with North Dakota State, Nick cashed, and Drake scored 3 on the first drive of the game to go up 3-0. And you're thinking, no. Could the Bulldogs really do this? Not only was it 3-0, they got they kicked that from like the 10-yard line. So like they got deep into NDSU territory, but no, ever since then they score 66 unanswered points. I took the Bison. I laid that number. They got it done. Are the Bison back?
I mean, this is definitely a good win and a good step in the right direction to build some confidence for Cam Miller and the boys and get rolling. So, I mean, it is Drake. We got to keep that in mind. They had a fine season, but when they played some other teams that were of note on their schedule, they got beat. They got beat by an NAIA team, a good one, but still. So this team, they were kind of a product of their conference, and now they stood up against North Dakota State, and North Dakota State did what we picked them to do and what they should have done. So it's going to be really interesting to see them against the Grizz. That's where we're going to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah. And then Duquesne, this was, Youngstown got up 10-0 in the first. Duquesne answered to make it 10-7. And I thought we were due for another Ohio, Pennsylvania classic. But then after that, your Penguins got it done. Nobody goes into the ice house and gets a dub. Mitch Davidson threw the ball all over the fucking field, and Duquesne really couldn't throw the ball. I think that was the story of the game, really, is that they couldn't do anything on offense. They only had 148 yards of total offense. Meanwhile, Youngstown had 532. 40-7 was the final domination by the Penguins. What did you make of your boys getting it done?
Yeah, I mean, there was never a doubt. We all knew that Youngstown State was going to roll up this team and send them on home. Duquesne, they're wannabes. They're from the Pittsburgh area. They're not even cool enough to be from Pittsburgh, whatever. We don't care about them. So, the Penguins, they looked real good, man. Davidson, King, all the names stepped up. They played their game. They looked real good. Northeast football's back. I'm very curious to see what happens in the second round, and I think they got a fighting chance. I think it's a fairly decent matchup for my Penguins, so I'm excited.
Yeah, let's get to it because it is awesome. What we got the SWAC championship and the FCS playoffs going on. Remember, the winner of the SWAC championship going to the Celebration Bowl to take on the Howard Bison. We got you covered with all of that, folks. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by the FCS college football experience. Is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. They got NFL, they got NBA, they got NHL, they got college basketball, and they got college football. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in, folks. And when you sign up, use the promo code SGPN. I'm sorry, TCE SGPN. And Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, we are back on the FCS college football experience, and we got, 9 games going on this weekend? 9 games. 9 a.m. Pacific. The Richmond Spiders are heading. I saw Albany was practicing today in the snow. Northeast football is back, baby. They're heading up to Albany, New York, where the last time they went there, Richmond won 23-20 in 2019. Both these teams are right atop of the CAA. Albany, the Great Danes, Reese Poffenberger, they've been really good. That defense has been really good. They're undefeated at home this season at Casey Stadium. I got to be honest, I'm really looking forward to watching this game. And they are laying 6.5 currently. I'm laying it, buddy. I think they're going to put it on Richmond in that cold weather. What are you doing here?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was going to have to be a pretty high number for me not to get behind Big Papa Poff. I mean, we've been going with this guy all season now, and I'm not going to stop here. I think this is where a player like him, this is where they shine. So this is you want to watch some good football, you want to watch some good quarterback play at the FCS level, come watch Big Papa Poff, Reese Poffenberger. I think they're going to get Richmond here. I mean, this is where Richmond fell last year in the playoffs, the second round. I think it's going to happen again. Give me the Great Danes. I'll lay the points.
Let's go. Lay that 6.5. Same time spot. The only thing is, I wish they would have spread this out. I mean, I know we said about this last week. Youngstown State's taking on Villanova. Youngstown is laying 2.5 on the road. This game's awesome. So Villanova didn't lose a game at home. Does that scare you at all here? Because both teams can run the ball. But Villanova is the much better rushing team. 12th in the nation, in the FCS there. Meanwhile though, Youngstown's a much better passing team than Nova. But Nova has a top 20 defense, and I think that could be all the difference here. I know the Wildcats at home to get it out right. What are you doing here, and are you disgusted by my play?
No, you're Look, I'm not going to follow you for personal reasons, but you're on the right side of this thing. Anybody that's smart out there, you realize I'm a YSU alum, and that's why this pick is going to be where it's at. Colby's probably on the right side of this. They should be favored. Nova should be favored. I was looking. Now, mind you, they have 2 losses, but in all 11 games, Villanova hasn't played a game that ended within 1 score. They've all been blowouts. So my handicap, I was really prepared for the Gwins to be dogs. So I'm surprised here. I'm a little taken aback. My handicap for this game was going to be that Nova hasn't really had to fight for a win all year, and that YSU was going to push them to the brink, and they were going to have to learn how to win a close game. And you don't want to have to learn that in the playoffs, especially after sitting back and chilling through a bye week. So that's my reason I'm going with the Gwins. Plus, I'm from there. I got to represent Northeast Ohio. So I'm going to take the Penguins. I'm going to lay the points.
Well, that's the thing you got going for you, and Richmond too. You see this all the time in the NFL playoffs. The team that gets that play-in game, you find that rhythm. You get for whatever it is, maybe the nerves are wore off, and the team now the pressure is on the team that had the bye week, and potentially that could be Youngstown or Richmond's angle or any of these teams that we cover, but. I don't feel great about this one. I feel much better about the Albany one than this one, to tell you the truth. But give me the home dog. Next, we jump to 10 a.m. Pacific time. Chattanooga, the Mocs are heading down to Greenville, South Carolina to take on Furman, the Paladins. Interesting matchup here. Just because I think a lot of people didn't think Chattanooga would be in, or if they did, that they'd win. Furman is laying 6 points. The last time these two teams played, Furman won by 3, and that was on November 4th this past year. But that was at Chattanooga. So this is that second matchup. I mean, it's hard to beat a team twice. There's that whole thing. But I just think Furman's better. But I don't know about laying 6. I'll do it. I'm going to lay it with Furman. I'm going to say, give me like a 21-13 final. What are you doing here?
Man, that is a tough one. That's a tough one. I think for me, the breakdown does come down to it's really hard to beat a team twice. We already talked about Chattanooga's played a lot of close games this year. Furman didn't really wow us all year. We haven't really seen them go out and just lay waste to a whole lot of teams. So I'm going to take the points. I don't know that I'm calling for the upset, but I am definitely going to take the points with the Mocs. Let's go.
Sacramento State is heading all the way up there to the Dakota Dome. Disgusting. Vermilion, South Dakota. And the last time, I don't even remember the last time these played. They didn't play this year. I always forget that the Big Sky and Valley, I feel like they play more frequently, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't have any intel on the last time they played because Sac State, not that long ago, they were a D2 school. This one's interesting because South Dakota, the Coyotes are a 2-point favorite. 2.5. Shop around. This game's on ESPN Plus. I actually love South Dakota here. I think South Dakota's going to fuck them up. I feel pretty good about this one. Out of the ones we've mentioned so far, I think this and Albany are the ones I like most. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with South Dakota. I mean, the question is the moment too big? Are they a little out of their element being here, being in the playoffs? We're seeing this South Dakota team, come in fresh this year. But no, I'm gonna lay the points, man. I think it's gonna be rowdy up there. I think they've been tested against good competition. I think Sacramento State doesn't even fully deserve to be in this playoff. So yeah, give me the Coyotes. I'm gonna lock that one up, man. I'm on it.
Easy play. Aiden Bowman, I think all the difference in the world. Remember, their only 2 losses are South Dakota State and Missouri, who's having a great season in the SEC there. So all over the Coyotes there at home. Moving along. Same time, Mercer heads to Brookings, South Dakota. What have I told you? This line was 32.5 points.
Eesh.
I'm all over Mercer here because I think Mercer's defense can hang a little bit here with South Dakota State. Now, am I a little worried about the cold at the Dyke House? Yes, I am. But Mercer's won 5 straight. They're playing really good defense, man. Mercer. I mean, look what they've done in the past few games defensively. So I'm all over Mercer covering this number. I understand South Dakota State's really good, but I'm locking up the Bears plus the points on the road. It's too many points, man. What are you doing here?
Yeah, man, that is a lot of points. I was kind of prepared to take South Dakota State. That's a lot more points than I was expecting. I think South Dakota State's going to wear this team out and pull away in the second half. But that many points, I think I'm going to have to go with you. I'm not going to lock it up, but I am going to take the Bears. I say they hang around for a little while through maybe the half, and then South Dakota State pulls away, maybe wins it by 27, 28.
Now we jump over to the noon slate, where I'm going to keep the locks flowing. North Dakota State, the Bison are heading to Bozeman. This is the game I think everyone's looking forward to. Montana State is laying 2.5 against North Dakota State. I think Montana State's going to beat them and beat them outright. This place is going to be packed. I'm laying the 2.5 with the Bobcats. What are you doing here?
Yeah, we got FCS playoff football, and North Dakota State Bison are a dog. You don't see that too often, but it's for a reason. It's because their program is kind of trending a little different. We've been talking about it all year, and I think, let's go Bobcats. I'm locking this one up. Come on, they got this in Bozeman. Let's go.
Yeah. Lock that thing up, folks. We also have the SWAC Championship on ESPN2. Prairie View, Bubba McDowell taking on Florida A&M. Florida A&M's laying 14 points. No. Give me Bubba McDowell and PV to cover this. A&M's probably going to win the game, but what are you doing here, man?
Yeah, I expect a big time shootout here, and I think FAMU's gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to earn it, man. This is a team that has a history of shooting themselves in the foot. What better time to do it than the SWAC championship? Yeah, Bubba McDowell gets the boys up. I think A&M wins it, but it's close.
Yeah, and then that would set up Howard against Florida A&M, which could be a fantastic game. So I didn't mention also that in Bozeman, Saturday they're calling for snow, but I think it's Saturday afternoon, so that game might get a little bit in the second half. But this game at 6:00, the Delaware Blue Hens. You want to jump off to the FBS? Well, first you got to go to Missoula and beat the hottest team in the country, maybe other than I guess South Dakota State. But this game's fantastic. 2 blue bloods over the years. Montana's laying 21 against Delaware. And look, I was all ready to load up on the Grizz. I did that on the SGP show and shop around because I thought I saw an 18 earlier at another place. But either way, when I found out it was snowing, I actually think that slows down the game a little bit. I think at that point you take the points, but I do think Montana's winning this game. What are you doing here, man?
Yeah, I definitely think the Grizz are winning this game as well. But 21 points, man. Delaware, that's a proud football program with a lot of history. Like you said, now they're jumping up to the big time. They got to prove that what they're worth. And 21 points. I just don't see the Blue Hens losing that many in the playoffs. So yeah, give me. You know what? I'm locking that one up. Give me 21. I'm all lock that.
Blue Hen Magic in Missoula, says the Gulf Coast Guru. Final game on the slate. The Salukis are heading to Moscow to that filthy fucking dome, the Kibbe Dome. This game's on ESPN2. I mean, Idaho's been a great story this year. However, they're laying 5.5, and I just can't buy in knowing the injuries that Idaho's had. Although the Salukis are a weird team, they can lose to anybody. They can also beat anybody. I think the Salukis are live. Don't let the dogs get hot. Give me the Salukis in the points. Ride that money line. What are you doing here?
For one thing, this is, even though Southern Illinois, I didn't even necessarily expect them to make the playoff. This is we're getting a hell of a quarterback matchup in this game. Nick Baker and Giovanni McCoy. Awesome quarterback matchup, and in a dome that could make for some fireworks. So I expect some points for sure. But I'm gonna lay the points under a touchdown. I'm laying the points with the Vandals. I think they're gonna get it done. I think home field helps out, and I think they're stoked to be here. So let's go.
Wow. See, I just think they're fading down the stretch. You saw it in that Weber game. You saw that Northern Colorado got up early. I just feel like they're a little too banged up. I like the Salukis to come in there and get it done. Cannot wait to watch all of this action, folks. Let's do a lock, a dog, and a tease. I think the one that I feel best about out of all of them is South Dakota beating Sac State in the Dakota Dome in Vermillion, South Dakota. That would be my top play. The dog that I think is most likely to win. See, I did take a lot of favorites. What dogs did I take? I took Nova was a home dog, but just 2.5. Prairie View I took, but once again, I don't think they can win. Delaware, I don't think they win. I think it's the Salukis. I think the Salukis are going to get you your biggest bang for your buck. Give me the Salukis. I don't have the actual odds on what the dog would be right now, but I imagine it'd be somewhere around plus 200 maybe. And for the tease, I think if you're going to tease these, if your book's offering that, which I know sometimes in Montana, you get out there, you may have that to have that opportunity. I don't know about South Dakota, but some of those states you'll have access to that, or if you know a guy. The tease for me would be, I would probably take Nova up to 8.5. Probably going to be a 1-score game. Youngstown might win, but I like Nova's chances. I'd bring Albany down to 0.5 point. And then I think give me the Salukis up to 11.5. I think that's the best I can do tease wise. How about for yourself, Gulf Coast guru there, Mike Rose?
All right, I'll try to give it a little variation, make it a little different. So I will do what you took, South Dakota. So for my lock, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to lock up Albany. That'll be my number one lock. A dog. You took what? Southern Illinois. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with, give me Chattanooga, the Mocs to get it done over Furman. And then for my tease, I'm going to have to also do Albany and Villanova. Villanova, it's up to 8.5. I don't have the lines in front of me, so
you know what's not a bad one though is getting Prairie View up to 20.5, or I'm sorry, 20, flat 20. It's 14. If you get PV up to 20 in that SWAC championship, and you're right, Nova would be up to 8.5. You could take Chattanooga up to 12. You could take Mercer up to 38.5, or you could bring South Dakota State down to 26.5. Albany at a pick, you could essentially get minus 0.5 point, but I don't know. Those are some of the ones. You could also take Delaware up to 27.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to ride. I'm going to ride Albany just basically out right there with 0.5 point. Villanova, I'm going to do in the teaser because I don't think you could pass up getting 8.5 in that game. And then, Delaware up to 27. I mean, once you add snow, plus just the Blue Hens, man, I don't see them getting blown out by that much. So that's my teaser.
Let's go, folks. Folks, we are the FCS College Football Experience. We're going to try to react to our this week next Monday. If not, it'll be Tuesday. But don't worry, we will have you covered. I will be live Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, talking about all of these games. Yes, the FBS too, but we're going to have all of these games at once. It's not a huge slate, so check us out in the morning there. College Football Experience. Go to youtube.com/the college experience to subscribe or watch on YouTube. And where podcast is available, wherever podcasts can be found. Give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. That's the home of the FCS College Football Experience. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD, and Mike Rose here is on Twitter at GCG_wins, as you see it there on the screen. Folks, until next week, I can't wait to buckle up and watch all this action. And great time of year, folks. So what are you doing? Get the SGPN app. You'll get access to all of our picks and all of our podcasts. That's the thing. The FCS lines move a lot. Get that app or go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, click on picks, and you'll see our FCS picks in case you've had crazy line movement, maybe more snow. I don't know. Do that. Also check out the FBS show, the college football experience, as well as the college basketball experience, breaking down college basketball games every single night of the season. Yeah, folks, every night, all the way till April 5th. Let's go. Until next time, folks, this is the FCS college football experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the gamblers. Run and shoot.